think you are. Like, Twitter is a very good place to find that out. First of all, especially when you're just reacting to like a news story. But secondly, and I feel dumb for not realizing how like this is used like on both sides of the aisle, because it really didn't stick out to me till I saw it today, where Fox News did a post or well, it felt like a post, but they did a article, quote unquote, about how people on Twitter are reacting to something that Samantha Bee said about, Trump or some political fucking argument or whatever. And they literally like they took the time to just like write an article that all it did was cite what about like 6 people said on Twitter. Like, oh, I didn't even know you still had a TV show. I didn't even know like saying this, and like this was a news story today. Like a news story, like, oh, people on Twitter don't like Samantha Bee's politics, and here's what they had to say. Like, what does that fucking have to do with fucking anything? You know, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, that is the definition of sensationalism: is finding one opinion that is going to back your fucking news story that you want to cover, even though it's not, news in heavy fucking air quotes there. Like, of course, like there's always going to be something on the internet that you can find that will back up any fucking claim that you just want to sensationalize for the fucking media.
Well, and exactly. And I'm sure like there's people that obviously have a problem with what she said, and that's fine and all, but like, do they deserve credibility that where Fox News like needs to create an article like, look what Dick Chucker 36 had to say about fucking Samantha Bee's, fucking TV show. Like, I don't care. And you're supposed to be like, you say you're a news organization. We all know you're not really a news organization, but like, if you want to at least pretend to be one, maybe don't run stories about what people are saying on Twitter, because it's like very inconsequential, right? Unless it's what Donald Trump's saying on Twitter, or a politician, or, somebody of like consequence is saying on Twitter. So I don't know. That just, you talking about Twitter just reminded me of that. So I just had to get that, that piece off my chest there.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, again, like Twitter, to me, as you know, I don't know if I've expressed this to the listeners per se. I feel like Twitter is the devil, because it is a culmination of everybody's, like everybody in the world's worst fucking thoughts, and like the worst people, the worst of the worst people come out on that website, and then news organizations, again, heavy quotes around news, like Fox, can just take anything that anybody says, and it's like, well, clearly the people feel this way, even though, like, what does this dude have, like 6 followers? Like, come on. Like, but because it's out there, that like this is an opinion piece now. So yeah, it's
well, and like that's what becomes so like tricky about it too, because on one hand, it's nice to know, especially for people like you and I who are making a podcast, and we'd like people to maybe not agree with. I even feel like respect is too strong of a word, like, because I don't even feel our opinions need to be respected.
How about listen?
We'd like to be heard.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, we'd like to be heard. Yeah. Listen, like, give it a shot, run, like and maybe that is what respect truly is, but I just mean like not respect in the like strong sense of like, yeah, they really know what they're talking about. Like, I think we'll be the first people to admit that we obviously have a lot of blind spots, but we're speaking what we feel is true and like what we believe in. So fighting against these avenues like Twitter, which have allowed us to have a greater participation in the overall conversation, and the internet, which allows us to have this podcast, which, regardless of people who hear it or not, it puts us in touch with people that never would have had an opportunity to hear us. Those are all really good things. So in that sense, you kind of, if you're people like you and I, we want to say to a degree, I believe, that even if you don't have a million followers, your voice still can carry some weight, right? So
Sure.
like in that way, it actually is hard to argue against these things and say like, why are you listening to this person? Why are you listening to that person? Where I kind of take issue with it isn't so much that people's voices can be heard, it's that we still do need these higher level organizations to decide to disseminate the information and actually not decide like and not give, I'm not talking about giving a biased view, but like truly decide like, is this worthwhile or is this just sensationalizing, like you said? Like, is this just adding to the, you know, to the hoopla or whatever you want to call it? Like they can still disseminate this is somebody with a point versus this is just going to inflame things and let's look for the most inflammatory comments we can find.
Right,
you know?
which I feel is mostly what these news organizations do, is they find... It's not about what is fact, it's what is most... what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck. Starts with a P. Damn it. Well, this is not the provocative. Provocative is the word I was looking for. They're looking for what's the most provocative.
I thought you were going with like the most agreed upon or the most like talked about, like where like as long as something gets like some steam behind it, that's where I thought you were going. You know, that can overtake fact just because it has like momentum.
Which
you know
is
what I mean?
Yeah,
like the fact that something, you know, yeah.
That's very much the truth.
Well, people like this, so let's just talk about it more, even though it's bullshit.
Right.
You know, like we have no journalistic responsibility or whatever you want to call it. We're just, oh, you like this? Okay, we'll do more of that, even though, you know, that's... But again, it brings up interesting questions because do we want the news to decide what's good for us or not? Like that's another very like important question behind all these things.
Because the news should be the news. The news should be objective. The news should be what is happening. Now you form an opinion. Like it started happening probably like 20, 30 years ago, but probably more like 20 years ago, where like the news went from being this.
You remember this from when you were 7?
I mean, like. Yeah, kind of, but like
I'm just.
But honestly, like you know, that's what has happened is that it went from this is what's happening now, form an opinion, to like there was a major shift where news stations started having personalities. You know, say fucking Anderson Cooper or Bill O'Reilly or people like that who like they have an opinion that they're putting across about what's happening, and that has become a steady trend to the point where all the news is fucking super diluted into people's opinions, and that's not what the news was ever supposed to be.
Well, to take it like what really happened, and you're totally right, but like so like Bill O'Reilly and all these opinion people like your Sean Hannity's and shit, it was like about like 20-25 years ago that those shows, like I remember it was my later years in high school. Like I remember even my parents, mostly my dad, but watching like Hannity and Combs all the time and like think, oh, Bill O'Reilly, he's really interesting. And he hadn't quite went so crazy at that point. You could listen to him and go, okay, whatever. He's got like, he makes points, but he's like clearly being deceptive, like what Tucker Carlson does now. Like that's, you know, what Bill O'Reilly did for all those fucking years. But what I was gonna say is like, so the ratings got really good for those shows, and then because these corporations are like, the idea of big business is you got to make more money. It's not about like the quality, it's about how much, what your profit margins are, how many viewers you have. So all of a sudden they start seeing Bill O'Reilly at night has, you know, the highest ratings across any TV show in that time slot. And they go, well, we need more of this. Right. We need more of this. And they keep seeing, you know, because so like in a sense, we decided that ourselves as a public. We're like, oh, we like this. We like drama. The same thing with reality television. Like, why that got as crazy as it did. It's not as bad anymore, but, they're like, oh, people like this reality TV. And then every show, like in prime time for 10 years was a reality television show. You know what I mean? So, like, we do it to ourselves a little bit. But what I wanted to even say, like, oh, and I probably forgot actually what this point was. Fuck. Oh, we may just have to end at that last sentence.
Talk about professional journalism.
No, I just did my thing where I go off on such a tangent that I forgot exactly what the initial point was going to be.
One of us went off on a tangent and forgot what the fuck point we were trying to make. That's unusual on this podcast, man. I don't know what's up with you.
Yeah, that's why we're so good at this and are just succeeding, beyond our wildest dreams. No, I almost got back to the point, and then you just derailed me right there. So, what are we supposed to do here?
Don't blame me. God damn it! Come on, you said you were forgetting.
Well, I was clearly working my way back to it. Okay, I was running the thoughts through my head, and now here it's all your fault. I blame you completely.
Working my way back to you, babe. Well, that is
yep.
That's where we're at now, I guess.
Fuck. No, this is really gonna fucking frustrate me because it was yeah, whatever.
I wish I was a pony dancing among the stars.
Everything you're about to hear is truthful, at least as far as you know.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I just had to carry out the rest of working my way back to you.
Fair enough. I was wondering what that was. The burning love inside. Yeah. Man, I just found a $50 Amazon gift card that I forgot I had from Christmas. What should I?
Dang.
What should I buy?
$50. I'd get a prosty.
A prostate?
No, a prostitute. Get a good old Amazon escort service. I believe they've started that up, right? Now you can just have a robot woman come over for $50 and suck your dick.
Oh. Is it like RoboCop where like if I try to not make her leave, then I'll die?
It's like RoBloCop.
Oh. Here we go again.
That was actually a little bit more clever though, because I had to come up with an idea. I didn't just take what you said and then make it. I didn't just take your exact words and then reuse them against you. I actually came up with a new thought. So it's it was as bad of a joke, but it was just slightly better. You know what I mean? Just slightly better.
Oh man.
Speaking of good jokes, man.
We're full of them here.
We're full of them here. So, well, I mean, this might not even be as good if I present it in that way that it's going to be a joke. I feel like if I present it that I'm going to tell a joke, that then you're expecting this to be hilarious, and it might not be. But I'm just going to say it anyways. So I take these or with the work I do online, it oftentimes includes a questionnaire so that they can kind of get an idea of the person who did the work. So like it might be a marketing job, it might be like a decision. Like there's a lot of tasks I do where like you allocate money between yourself and someone else, and they're trying to see like how giving people are, or like in different situations, like just the way people make decisions.